I'm just gonna one shot this whole thing. Um, it's SuperBottle. Hey there. If you know me from Cwa, a lot of people do. I'm just out here drinking from my Pac-Man cup, having a cup of coffee in the morning. Kind of done with my chores, and you know what? I honestly thought I'd hop on the mic and talk about my experience with Smash, the Smash community, and the whole like. This actually might take a while. I'm gonna just one shot the whole thing and just edit here and there. So obviously it won't be complete. I haven't written down my whole thought process. We'll just kind of see how long it goes. Just have a little bit of extra time after my chores. And I thought, since, I likely won't be competing that much anymore, or maybe not at much at all, honestly. Um, I thought, why not just give a run back and just talk about my history? Because I do remember quite a bit that a lot of people don't. And I was here for, oh shoot, the longest time. All of the Seawall members, I feel like I know personally. I've met and talked to almost every single Seawall member. If you were to ask them about me, or if you were to ask me about any member, I could tell you pretty much any story. Um, at least a single story with each member. So I'm going to go ahead and give my history. I started back in about Smash 4. Like everyone else, I mean, I played Smash since the 64. I've been playing video games for a long, long time. We'll see if any of these Pac-Man drinks get in the final cut. But I've been playing Smash for a long, long time. I would just play with my friends and whatnot. So I wasn't super interested into the competitive community at all, to be honest. And like many people, back in the day, I actually watched the Smash documentary. And I don't remember if I started right before or right after, but my time frame of playing was right around when the Smash documentary came out. Maybe a little after, maybe a little before. I'm not totally sure. But I do remember that being close to the start of it because I did watch PPMD's Apex run. So at that point, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I didn't know tournaments happen. Luckily for me, I looked up on Facebook. I was seeing if there was any local tournaments, and I noticed that there was one in Sunken. And I would play with my friends and whatnot, and I would have a decent time. I would go pretty well against them. Ever since I started, I was really, really good at just reading habits and kind of what the opponent wanted to do. And I noticed just so many people rolled. I mean, to be fair, when everyone first started, which was basically Wii U, um, you have to understand that we were building a community at that point, and we were basically starting from scratch zero. So unless you were someone like Presley or Caleb who had brawl experience, you were starting from the very bottom. I mean, you didn't have videos, you didn't have anything to learn. You kind of just had to watch gameplay, and you had to just teach yourself. Towards the middle of Wii U, there was much more videos on it about learning different techniques and whatnot. But towards the start of it, there really wasn't much. So we all had to kind of just learn by playing every week, playing with other people and whatnot. So, anyways, I went to my first tournament. Um, there's a lot of things about that first tournament that I'll say, but I went to my first one, and this is the first one that I remember. I don't remember if it was exactly my first one or not, but I remember playing, and I played decently well. I ended up getting fifth, doing exactly what I was saying. I mean, I would play a lot online at that point, and I would notice that just people rolled all the time. People just air dodged out of combos all the time, whatnot. And in Smash 4 particularly, all that stuff was pretty important because there were way more 50-50 mix-ups and just reading the opponent a little bit more. So I did decently well. I got fifth place there, nothing crazy. I would say my play was, if I were to like look back at it now, I'd probably be disgusted, but at the time it was pretty good because everyone started at a relatively low power level. So, anyways, this tournament is pretty notorious for. This was a tournament that Press and some other dude, I can't remember his name. Anyone could remember his name, but Press was winning and they were mad trash talking. The crowd was mad trash talking this whole game. And whoever got second place was really mad, and he ended up punching the other dude, which is wild, dude. The fact that that was my first tournament, and for some reason we went 100 extra tournaments plus after at Sunken is amazing. Because if I was Sarah, I would have just said, "Screw that." If I was Sarah, I would have said, "Screw that," and just stopped everything then and there. Maybe it didn't get back to her. Maybe no one talked about it, but the fact that that happened at my first tournament and we somehow got 100 plus tournaments out of it is wild. But that is my first tournament I remember. And I remember I was there. I want to say some of Grandview was there. I know a lot of my early training partners like Andy, Jonathan, Zayla, Alex. I know they were there, and yeah, Press. I don't think Caleb was there. KB, as you guys know him, but I do remember Press being really, really good, and I saw him play, and I was like, "Holy smokes, this guy really knows what he's doing." I mean, he's not only going for raids, but he's setting up a lot of things. He's reading out of pressure. He's using way more options than the average person at that point knew of. So it was really, really fun to watch that. And going forward from there, I'm gonna do a lot of fast forwards because it just helps me out a lot more, and I can't remember every single little thing. Going forward from there, for the early parts, I remember I would watch random little YouTube videos that kind of gave tips here and there, and I would try to apply them to me. A lot of what I'm really good at is getting to situations that I know I can really punish a player, and then situations where I know I can read a player, and just kind of learning their habits and whatnot. And so I would watch a lot of random YouTube videos of just really weird things because I don't know if you played Smash for the Wii U. There are a lot of odd scenarios that you have to either know what's going to happen or you're going to get smacked. And so, for instance, Villager Side B didn't have a hitbox at all at the start. My friend Andy at the time, he was struggling against a villager, and I told him, "Yeah, dude, if you literally just like dash attack into that, you'll be fine. It does nothing to you." He ended up winning that set. So just little things like that, I love to like really learn. And around this time in my Smash career is when I really, really wanted to learn and just play much, much more and try to improve a whole lot. And I want to say that kind of went to my success early on is that I was just consuming so much. I mean, there weren't many other people that practiced as hard as me in terms of really learning the game and learning movement and whatnot. And so every week I would just be trying to play with anyone I could. I would play with Jonathan at the time, and Jonathan, he really made me mad. He super made me mad. He would just play really annoying. And it worked for a while, I can't lie. At some point, I got so good that he's like, "Oh man, you just figured it out." I was like, "Yeah, I don't." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks," because I mean, it took all this annoyance to learn, but I learned his playstyle. And so I was actually able to deal with camping a lot from that. And then Andy and Alex, they were just solid players, and they would kind of teach me my bad habits early on. And so all of that training at the start was really, really helpful in my growth. I would just try to play with as many people as possible and try to learn as much as possible. Because if you just play against one person, you're really not learning the gambit of play styles. At this time, it was Presley and Caleb who really ran the scene. And you could tell they were just a step or two above everyone else. I mean, they were punishing people way harder. They were reading people way better. And just watching them helped me out a lot because I would see, even though it wasn't in my muscle memory to punish the same way they did, it was helpful to see how they played. And so I would love to watch them quite a bit. So I want to say Presley and Caleb took most of the earlier tournaments, if not all of them, for a while. And then there was a funny scenario where just straight up Caleb got banned. I'm going to talk about all this. I don't care. Caleb got banned from, what was it called? Event 52 at the time. Because he basically said everyone needs to get good. And I believe Ica at the time didn't take that well. I understand both sides. Ica's like trying to protect the players because he's like, I mean, don't trash talk that bad. Because some of these guys are kids or whatever. So I understand that side, and I understand Caleb's side too. I mean, if he's just coming out here and winning all the time and not even trying, then yeah, he can tell everyone to get good. I understand both sides, so I'm not going to pick sides here. But I do find it extremely funny looking back. So Caleb was gone for a solid minute. I wouldn't want to return either if I was just banned for talking like that, to be honest, because I got a big mouth, in case you don't know by now. So early on, Caleb got banned, and I was just playing a heck of a lot. After that happened, I had already been training with Andy, Jonathan, Alex, and then I was training with, if you guys remember the Robin player at the time, he was pretty good, and he had some results outside of City, but I can't remember his name for some reason. I would train with him, I would train with Titan, I would train with Ica, and actually Taylor at the time. Taylor played a whole lot, but this was early Taylor, and early Taylor, he'll tell you too, he was just not good at the game. But he did grind a lot to get to where he was later on. So I played with him quite a bit too. And so during this time frame, I had just had so much training that when Caleb and Press just kind of comes and goes, but when Caleb was gone, I remember winning for a solid couple weeks, or for a solid long while, until Caleb came back early and Press. And then we were pretty good for a while. That was probably our top three, is me, Caleb, and Press. Um, and that was just the early scene. That's how it was run. Is Press dominated early. Press and Caleb then dominated early. Caleb got banned for a little bit, and I kind of took over for a while. And there I met, I think that's when I first met Chez and Superdog. I met them both, and they were both the DDD players, which is hilarious that both friends played DDD. Like, what are the chances of that? Um, that's where I met Keowulf. He wasn't as solid at the time. He was definitely good, but he just wasn't. I would consistently beat him. He would probably win most matches, but he just wasn't as good. I met a lot of other people from Seawall. People like King Richard, No Chill. And then that's how it was for a solid long time. And I think at some point, some of us wanted to go down to Spokane because we were like, oh, there's a tournament where they get like 30 plus people, which was wild at the time because I believe at Event 52, we were getting like 8 to 10 people or so. Nothing crazy. So it would just be a solid time killer, but we were like 30 plus people, that's kind of crazy. At the time, we were pretty startup, so even hearing numbers like that was wild to us. Like, we couldn't imagine it being that big. And so we went up to Black Wolf, I think it was named, and we went there for a couple months. Like, I think at first, obviously, you kind of gotta get your own recognition. Like, if people aren't respecting you, then you got to build your own respect. And we went down there and we caused some havoc for some while. I know for one time, me and the Robin player ended up beating their number one player, Shiny. I took him out in winners and he took him out in losers. And they were like, oh, okay, these guys are for real. And I remember that being our first bit of respect, other than them already knowing Press, because Press was big in Brawl. And he was kind of just known around the regions. I think he got 33rd at some Evo, which is impressive, like extremely impressive. Other than Presley, they really didn't know about our region. And so us to do that was really, really nice. So we did that against Shiny, and then I had a lot of solid placements there. I think my highest was a third, and that actually ended up me getting on their PR. I think it was like fifth or sixth or something, and that was the start of Desi era. And so like some of this is like here and there. Obviously, not all of it is set in stone. In the time frame, but this is kind of how I remember it. At some point in my Black Wolf career, I had a win against Taiza. I had a win against their Yoshi player, which no one liked. I had a I had a win. Yeah, just basically anyone over there. But it was really fun to go. I'm not trying to say like I just stacked wins. I obviously lost a lot too. I'm saying I had decent placements, but it was an extremely good thing to go to. Just because you would see so many new players and so many new play styles and people that were overall their power level of their PR players were just a little bit higher. I'm not going to compare players here and there, but I'm just saying overall you would get better playing there. So it was always a fun treat to go there, maybe monthly or every other month. Funny story, just kind of an aside. One time we drove over there and I apparently didn't remember to get new windshield wipers. And so I don't know why these guys let me, or if they just weren't freaking out. But I was in the car with Aika, Titan. I want to say the Robin player, and I don't remember if it was anyone else. But dude, I could not see through the tiniest hole. Like there was the tiniest hole I could see out of in my windshield. Oh, I believe it was Taylor too. The tiniest hole in my windshield. If I would wipe, my windshield would get dirtier. This was in the winter. This was like blaring snow. This was like I couldn't see at all. It was terrible. I there was a significant percentage that we would just die getting up there. But we made it. We made it a little bit late. We did inform the TOs. But we did make it, and yeah, that was just absolutely wild. We're all lucky to be alive. We're all lucky to be here, right? But no, we're really lucky to be here. And so that's kind of just my early remembrance of my career. I got a jet because I got chores to do, but I'll go ahead and just edit this, post it up, and then kind of go from here. Next time I sit down and talk about it. Cheers.